Welcome back to Calmsden. So, as always, it seems we're off to the dealership for more equipment. Before we get into all of that, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. It really does help to build this amazing little community. So, what are we up to today? So in the last episode you'll have seen we did a lot of subsoiling. We've got a lot of stones turned up in all of those fields as well. So we're off to lease a rock picker. I'm certainly not going to buy one. I have no love for rock picking whatsoever, so I'm not going to invest in buying a piece of equipment to do it. So let's get pulled up here and see what our options are. Here we go. So I believe there are not very many options at all. So I think this is the only one. I'm not even going to go through the other two because they're too narrow and we have a lot of ground to cover. So it's not the cheapest to lease, but we've no choice. Now, it's worth mentioning what we're going to do with all of these stones. So I alluded to it in towards the back end of the last episode. The plan is that while you can gather up these stones, you can actually sell them, which is fine, and you don't get a whole lot of money. I think it would scarcely pay you to lease the rock picker and actually get your money back if you're trying to sell the rocks. It's just not worth it. Now you do get, I think you might get a yield bonus as well for picking the rocks. I'm not actually sure on that one. You'll see actually on the last episode I did a lengthy waffle on yield bonuses as well, so that's worth looking back on, by the way. So the plan is we're going to use the rock picker, gather up all the rocks. We're not going to sell them. We're going to purchase a rock crushing machine in this episode. Now what happens is similar to any production chain in FS22. You feed it the rocks, it crushes them, and it produces lime. And I think for every litre of stone you put in, you get 4 litres of lime back, which is fantastic because lime is expensive, and we have basically, if you're looking at the map right now, and we might look at it a little bit later, you'll notice that pretty much the whole of Calmsden needs lime, so we're going to need a lot of it. Now of course the rock crushing little factory, which will be placed on our farm, doesn't come cheap either. We do have to pay for it. We'll see that a little bit later in the episode as well, but I think overall it will be worth it. So let's just get started here. So you do got to switch this machine on and lay it down, and we're away. So this is not exactly the quickest job in the world because this machine isn't very wide. I did say before that rock picking wasn't my favourite job in the world. I think growing up, if I was told that there was rock picking to be done, it usually meant back-breaking work. We didn't have a rock picking machine, and usually there would be a hole in the gate the shape of me. I would be gone out the gate that quickly if I heard there was rock picking happening. I wanted nothing to do with it. So having a machine, to be fair, is quite amazing. Albeit it's going to take a while to do these fields. Ooh, I missed a strip in that field away to our left. It's a subsoiler. Ouch, that wasn't amazing. In any case, we'll probably crack on here. I will hand over here and there to a driver, to an AI worker. This is just going to take too long, and we've got a couple of jobs to do. So I'll do a couple of rounds here, then hand over and I'll grab the trailer. Okay, so the worker is getting through that first field. We do have 2 big fields to get through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the trailer down to that first field. Let's just check. Just make a quick check to make sure that this trailer is actually capable of... Yeah, it's capable of carrying stone. I've made mistakes like this before. It's worth checking before leaving the yard. So we'll get the trailer down there, and we'll get the telehandler down there as well. The thing about the rock picker is it doesn't have a huge tank, so you do got to empty it quite regularly. And also, if you don't keep an eye on the worker will get through the field. The rocks will disappear, but you won't actually, they won't get collected in the tank of the water or the rock picker. So we've got the trailer and the telly in the field, and we've got our first load. So, lots of rock. Let's just get into position here. Okay, it took me a couple of goes to figure out how to heal this, how to unload it. So there we go. Lots of stone. Okay, let's get the worker back moving, and then we'll grab the telly and start loading. Okay, worker is on his way again. So we'll scoop all of these up and we'll get them in the trailer. I don't envy the job of the New Holland with this load behind it. This is going to be a pretty heavy load by the time we're done. You can already see the telly is rearing up at the back there. So we'll get filled up here. Funny enough, there's actually more capacity in the bucket of the telly than there is in the rock picker. So this is hilarious. So we'll crack on and we'll catch up in a bit. Okay, next load is in. I should say this is the fourth load. So I've jumped ahead quite a little bit. It's gonna tip this as well, if I can get into position properly. And up we go. I wonder, will this be the thumbnail of the video? Who knows? Okay, so there's another load dumped. So let's just get out of the way. And we'll get it loaded up again. So far so good, but this does take time. It does take time. If anyone out there is preparing to get into the rock picking work, be prepared. It's a bit of a time commitment. Again, you'll see the telly just rearing up with the weight of this thing. All these rocks. So what we'll do is we'll continue doing this same job, and we'll probably catch up towards the end of the second field when we're almost wrapped up. Okay, so we're done pretty much. We're in the second field, back towards the main farm, and we've just got a bunch of loads here that I dumped all over the place. So I'll try and heal them into the trailer here without turning myself upside down. I guess I should have removed the pile right in front of the trailer first. Oh well, live and learn. So, come on in. That trailer is getting pretty full at this point. It must be, even though I can't quite see it from this angle. So what I'll do is I'll crack on with filling this up, and we'll probably jump ahead to when we're ready to actually get the rock crusher on the ground. Okay, away we go. We have a lot of stone. See it here, the New Holland is struggling under the weight, despite the fact that it's, what, 320 horsepower or something like that. Even the New Holland is struggling. So we're just going to park up here for a second, and we're going to have a look at the, where is it? If we go to construction, go to production, go all the way to the end. Where is it? I assume it's at the end. Yeah, this was a mod, by the way, so that's why I assumed it was at the end. There we go. Now, I've been thinking about this. I've had a lot of time to think while doing the rock picking. Now, this thing is fantastic, and it's great, and it's amazing, and it'll make lots of stuffers, but it's ugly. I really think it's ugly. I actually don't want it sitting right there beside the yard. So don't want to be looking at it day in, day out when we're only going to use it possibly once a year. You know what, lime doesn't go down every year, so maybe every second or third year we'll be using it. So I'm just going to position it here because it's closest to our two biggest fields anyway, so that would make sense. But also it's out of the way, and it's not unsightly in our yard, so I accidentally didn't click. So somewhere around here, Stu. Perfect. Okay, let's put down a big concrete slab underneath it. I'll probably do some landscape painting around that. It looks a little bit intrusive, just to make it all the more realistic again. Just like I did with the manure pit a couple of episodes back. I can't help but landscape around these things just to make sure they really do fit in correctly. So here we go. First step, of course, is to unload the stone into the production plant, if we call it that, to the rock crusher. Okay, so here's our rock crusher. So there's nothing in it. It is telling us 1,000, for every 1 litre of stone, it'll generate 4 litres of lime, which is pretty good because we have a lot of stone. So let's get tipped and we'll see how it gets on. I'm not sure how quickly it will actually develop. Okay, there we go. So we can see our stone is starting to load up already. I'm not sure how long it will take for lime to actually start to appear. We'll find out, I guess. So, loading trigger, maintenance. And you'll see this spout here is where you just got to park underneath this. There's no visual trigger, but you got to park underneath that to unload. Actually gather up your lime. So, I've just given it a minute to see if it's getting along. Still nothing. There we go. So we are officially producing lime. So I think this is the best use of all that stone that we managed to pick out of the fields. So we're up and we're running. Next episode, we'll get this lime out in the field. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for the next one.